Brent, I want to talk today about this kind of fallacy of bigger, better, and kind of where our egos have steered us wrong in the past.
Yeah.
Where should we start?
Well, I'm a little bit older than you.
Not by much.
I just turned 60. So I don't know whether I've slowed down, but as we were kind of prepping and talking about this, I think there's a natural desire to, what's next? How do I grow my business? What does it look like? Mm-hmm. And so you end up looking around for, who's the peer in my, market that's really up there, mm-hmm. that I wish I could be. Your team can learn a lot of things from small jobs just as they will from big jobs. Yeah. And there's no difference in serving the client, in my opinion, in between either of those jobs. Sometimes it's hardest to make the change. For instance, this builder is doing a fixed price. And Wade and I have been telling him for years to do cost plus, mm-hmm. and he can't do it, and he won't do it. And you're just like, that would change his business, that would transform his business, that would make so many of the headaches that he's currently dealing with go away. Mm. And I sit there and I look at that and I'm just like, sometimes the hardest thing is to change those things that we're afraid of. Mm-hmm. That gosh, if I did that, the unknown sometimes can make you afraid, and maybe that's where the, that's a harder challenge than, for me turning away a big job or saying no to something. Actually, the harder thing may be to pivot in the way I do the business, mm-hmm. and it would change his business. What is that skill set that allows you to, forge forward into something that everybody's been telling you to do, but you're afraid to do?
So I'm curious, how do we advise the younger builder? What do you say? Because for many years, I would tell people, don't say no to a job because you don't know if it's going to vaporize, and you can always gear up if you need to. Is that good advice in today's day and age, or not really?
I think it is. I now 30 plus years into this thing, we've gone through cycles where all the jobs we do are $4 and $5 million plus. And what happened to me when I did that was I perception-wise closed myself off to the good $1 million, $2 million jobs that were out there that people just looked at me and said, oh, he wouldn't do something that small. And I remember a client that we had done 2 projects for. I drove by their house. There's another guy signing the yard. I'm like, called him. I said, dude, what's going on? He goes, well, I just thought you were too big and too busy. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So we don't really say no to anything.
It's hard to put a hard line in the sand to say, we'll never work on a project where we have an owner's rep. Because I'll be honest, I've only done one project with a true owner's rep where I almost never met the client. And that project turned out fabulous. I had a great architect who was super organized, and we did a full year of pre-construction where my team had a ton of time with both the architect, the interior designer, and the owner's rep. Yeah. And we turned out a fabulous project together. But on the other hand, most of my projects are like yours, where I get to know the client pretty well. I was texting with 2 of my clients this morning. I really like having that personal relationship. And sometimes when you don't have that not all the time, but sometimes when you don't have that personal relationship and something goes wrong, and trust me, something will go wrong in construction. You don't have the ability then to call Mr. or Mrs. homeowner and say, Jim, Sherry, whoever, hey, we got a problem here. I want to tell you about it. Let's talk about some solutions here. To build a good business, it should really be low and slow. And you should really not look at doubling whatever in the next year. You should really think about, okay, if I'm going to grow this, let's think about how I could grow this at a 10% rate. If you got 10% on your money every year, you'd be doubling in every, 6 years, 5 years, something like that, 7 years. I forget what the exact number is. So 10% more revenue this year, that's a very achievable number. Doubling that revenue, 50% more revenue, those are really, really hard numbers to make.
Don't think that you're going to, find those clients and find that thing really fast. It just takes a long time. Takes time. And that wealthy client, that person is going to be watching for a long time. Going, wonder who that is. Let me just see how that turns out. Let me see how that, and they're watching. They're always watching. And like you said, low and slow is good advice.